Welcome to yet another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I am old guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting right across from me is my co-host.
What it do was good. It's your brother Sam Ant Viral Hip Hop News. Another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. Oh God, we're here again, man. What's good with you?
What's up, man? They're definitely in the building today, and I want to say we appreciate y'all, everybody that's coming over from Hip Hop News and Viral Hip Hop News, and on the channel right now, Uncensored Truth. Make sure you like this video and share this video before we get into this content, man. So we were sitting here earlier in the pre-production, just talking about what we're going to go over today, and the headline popped up on the screen, and it says, Meek Mill denied a new trial by Judge Genece Brinkley. Yes, you heard it. Meek Mill denied a new trial. Now, when I told you this, you said, Meek Mill's not surprised. And I'm like, what? Sam, man, what do you think about Judge Brinkley now after all that's been done, the evidence against the cop, that public outcry? Meek Mill, like you said it, in the pre-production, Meek Mill damn near, joining forces with anybody that's everybody that's powerful. Now being denied once again, no new trial for Meek Mill. What you think about that, Sam? Man?
Well, first off, I don't think anybody's surprised. I don't understand why you seem so surprised, but because this is something personal. There's nothing involved that has anything to do with legality, nothing to do with fair or unfair. This is personal. This is a personal vendetta from this woman against Meek Mill. It's obvious when you have a cop that's a dirty ass cop involved in a situation with Meek Mill, and your reasoning is the dirty cop that turned into dirty cop was too dirty, so therefore it negates the fact that the other one, it's just a whole bunch of running around, a whole bunch of circles, and it just goes and clearly paints a picture that this woman has a vendetta out against this brother. Now, we heard Nicki Minaj come out and take Brinkley's side. You talked about in the pre-production meeting, like, damn, did Meek Mill do something a little extra that we don't know about? And you only raised the question because it's like, how in the hell, after all this evidence comes out, could you possibly still not give this brother a new trial? Like, there has to be, if there's something, like, what's good? Like, but in my opinion, it's personal as hell. It's personal as person can get.
Has to be at this point. Now, Judge Brinkley did, release a statement saying, after an in-depth review of the record, court history, notes of testimony, and evidence submitted at the evidentiary hearing, this court hereby denies defendant petition for PCRA relief as defendant failed to meet his burden of proof. Just a slap in the face at this point. And I agree with you at this point, what Meek Mill saying, it definitely has to be something personal. Because at this point, seeing all the people, she's like, she don't care. She's like, I don't give a fuck who says anything. If the president says it, I'm sticking to my role and I'm the judge. And they shouldn't have had this much control over our life, especially something that happened 10 years ago. And we got it on record that the officer already done lied. It's been proven. So what makes you think he didn't lie in this situation? It's crazy, but it just goes to show you that we ain't really got no power out here. It's just, no matter how much money you got, no matter how many jewels, no matter how many Maybachs and Wraiths you can talk, and no matter how your wordplay is, you still a man.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you see as the end result for Meek Mill in this situation? We see him at the BET Awards. We see the performance. He's starting to come out with new music. We compared him to our legend, our icon, the uncomparable Tupac Shakur. He's kind of walking that line right now. He's been in jail. He's going through the injustices he's going through. The music is starting to really speak and put him on a pedestal that he needs to be put on. But I mean, he has this looming over his head. This is some real shit going on with this woman not giving up and not giving him a new trial, him still being on probation or parole, like you told me earlier. What do you see as being an end result? What's the worst case scenario? And what scenario do you see happening for our brother Meek Mill?
I just really see, him continuing, to grow, continuing to stay on this message, and maybe even turn into some like a political activist of sorts, almost like kind of like the road that per se that Colin Kaepernick kind of took. He just got, even though Meek Mill kind of shies away from it, I think as he gets older, he'll naturally move into that, somebody being more, vocal, even like kind of like Jay-Z, now what he's saying, it resonates with a lot of people and holds a lot of weight. But, we know that in this country, like, this is America, In America, it seems like Black power and people that stand up and try to be about Black power is always pretty much destroyed, in this country. And what I mean by that is, us pretty much doing for self. Shout out to Do for Self record, Meek Mill's affiliated with. When we get into the mode of doing for self, it seems like always like they kind of didn't want that. They kind of, it's like seems like it's a plan to kind of keep us on the bottom and keep us, keep us the people that everybody else feasts off of and exploits. That's what it seems like to me. So I don't know how. I pray the best happens for this brother, but we see plenty of examples of people being destroyed. And this is America.
So in that point you made, do you think this is a situation where the judge and the system in Pennsylvania obviously sees this brother as a figure that's really becoming something out here and really being a voice and being heard, and now we hear it translating through his music? It's not that nigga shit no more. It's not the popping perks. It's not that. It's actually the opposite. He's empowering, actually putting a message. Do you see the two kind of coincide and maybe that being a reasoning? Do you see a bigger issue at hand when it comes to Meek Mill in this case? Do you see them almost trying to keep him behind like you're talking about they do to us on occasion? I mean, you still kind of translate it to it being personal? I
just think it's systematic. You know what I mean? It might not be like, I mean, of course it's personal with the judge, but like it's a systematic approach. You know what I mean? It's real deep. We could definitely get into it on another, broadcast to keep certain races, ethnicities of people, in certain positions, because a lot of people make a lot of money off the ignorance. A lot of people make a lot of money off keeping people in a certain position and not really waking up, because if we wake up, then we're not spending money on the foolish, things and, the things that kind of lead to our own demise. So yeah, I think it's more of like a systematic thing, you know what I mean? More so than personally against Meek Mill.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely. I feel that too. I just want to get your perspective. All right, word.
No doubt. But you're listening to the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sandman. We're going to encourage everybody listening to this podcast to please go ahead, share this video, and hit the like button. Yes, we going in. Also, do me this favor, Uncensored Truth podcast right now. Go to the Uncensored Truth podcast right now. We upload all our content over there, and we're going to make some exclusive content available for some of our, everyday loyal listeners real soon. So just stay tuned for that.
Oh, God, man. We were talking in the pre-production meeting, and we were just having a conversation about opening doors. You know what I mean? And we were just kind of getting back. I think it's what's today, June 26th?
Yes, sir.
All right. So technically today is the anniversary of Viral Hip Hop News. So I appreciate everything. Yes, I dropped my first video July 11th, and we'll get into the backstory of how Viral Hip Hop News was even created. But if you remember, on Hip Hop News Uncensored, probably a little over a year ago, the people that's really been riding with us, right? We were doing this. We were doing this in the backyard almost. You know what I mean? Where you were asking me questions and I was giving my perspective, and then we would get on the mic and do it together. And just together, we kind of had this vibe and this vision to do what we're doing right now. But it all happened with a door that you open. Now, often, too many times out here, I think that it gets misconstrued that once people start to gain success, the people under them, they start seeing them and looking at them in a different light, but don't realize the doors that are being opened for them. You opened the door for me, like you said, you planted a seed, but I had to go through and do the things that I do. So talk about a little bit, man, just as we're sitting here vibing real quick for our people on Uncensored Truth podcast. Just talk about a little bit just about opening doors and just receiving the blessings and what to do with them and why they're just often taken for granted out here amongst us and amongst our brotherhood and things like that.
Well, the thing is, like, it's a lot of opportunities that can present it to a lot of people, in the world. But and we're going to start a mentorship program at some point, for what we do, YouTube and social media. But it's just like there's no magic beanstalks to success. At the end of the day, you got to be willing to work. I was watching this Kobe Bryant talk, and he talked about it was a team that he was going against. I can't remember the team, but a guy was saying that he wanted to show up to practice early. He said when he showed up to practice, Kobe Bryant was already there practicing. And when he stopped practicing, Kobe Bryant was still practicing. So they asked Kobe Bryant, why do you practice? Why do you get up at 4 a.m. to practice? Because he broke it down. He said, all right, I know my competition, they're going to practice from 8 to 9. And then they're going to rest their body and practice again from, let's say, 5 to 7. They get 2 practices in. He said, if I wake up at 4 o'clock and I get started, I can go from, 4 to this to this. I can get 4 practices in when they only get 2 practices in. So that means they'll never catch up to my work ethic. And we see who Kobe Bryant, is. They also talked about Jordan and, Michael Jordan's work ethic. So you got to have a work ethic. I don't care what somebody puts in front of you. And that's something, that because I've been a lot of people, I've talked to and we've done this with, but what separated is the work ethic. And another thing that Kobe was saying is like talent didn't mean nothing, because talent wise, you can have people that's equal, but who's willing to work the hardest and outwork the next man and not be defeated is who's going to get to that prize. So that's one of the keys, to success. Of course, we know other things. So yeah, that's why, you know, you got where you were. Yeah, I showed you some things, but you had to be hungry enough, you know, and have the work ethic to see these things out. You know what I mean?